Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to my podcast, Snacks Thoughts. And again, I say welcome to my podcast, Snacks Thoughts. And what is my thought today? Well, I was thinking about the millions of men that are missing from the labor force. And I guess they're having a problem with filling certain jobs. And supposedly these are men, prime working age from 25 to 55. And they're trying to figure out exactly where these men are at, you know? And I began to think about it, and they gave different reasons as to why some of these men are missing. And they said some obviously wasn't maybe enough of them weren't college educated, didn't have at least a 4-year degree. That was some of the reasons they gave, and more women being having higher education and more of them entering the labor force. That was some of the different reasons. And then some made the assumption that they're living with their parents or living off family or friends, in somebody's basement. And they spend their time either some going to the gym and leisure activities, playing video games. Some possibly have become stay-at-home husbands where the wife, she goes to work and she earns the bacon, and the husband stays home, takes care of the house and, the children and, the other chores, And I thought about it, and I began to, kind of analyze the situation, because it's a significant number, and it's significant enough to where it's beginning to affect society. And also, that's a lot of tax revenue, and other potential investment, whatever other funds that are being affected by these missing men. And so on today's episode, I will title this one, Missing Men from the Labor Force. Where are they? And here's my opinion on probably, this should cover some of it, of where some of these men are at. Some, may possibly, could possibly be, maybe have had an early retirement. Maybe somewhere in the military and are veterans, and in the military, you can retire earlier than most careers, if you do 20 years or more. And depending at what age you start, if you start at 17 and you retire after 20 years in the military, you're done by 37. And some, may go on longer than that. It depends, and you have the officer and enlisted side of the house. And obviously officers can serve longer. And depending on how, what your rank and grade is, will allow you to have a longer term of service. So you can retire, later, or you can stay in longer. So I thought the military might be some of that. Maybe some of these guys were post-military and they may have invested their money wisely, and so they may have their military pension. Then as a vet, if they get any VA compensation, they could be getting that plus their pension, and then whatever other money that they invested. Or what if they started maybe a business or something, after they got out the military or while they were in, and they continued on with that business. And if the business is, successful, then with those multiple streams of income, they wouldn't necessarily have a need for the workforce, And I don't have exactly the numbers of whether all of these guys are single or married, but I know it was a significant amount of them that were supposedly single. Supposedly a significant amount of them were single men. I think the number for those that might be married, it was definitely small. So I guess these are a lot of single guys that they consider that are supposedly able-bodied, could work and could contribute to society and could contribute to a family. So I am making the assumption that probably most of these guys are single. And so governments and corporations are looking for these men. It's like, where are they? You know? Now, other career fields where some of them may have retired early. What if some of them were prior firefighters, police officers, maybe certain types of engineers, accountants. There's certain career fields where you can, retire early. So depending on what career field that they were in, what if some of them maybe they were stockbrokers, you know what I'm saying, or dealt in the arena of finance, and then obviously you may have some that have become rich or at least become affluent, and so maybe they become financially independent, where they don't need the labor force in order to sustain their standard of living. And financial independence doesn't necessarily mean you have to be 7 figures or above, or even 6 figures, but it's when you are comfortable and you can afford your lifestyle without having to rely, supposedly on the system. So those are some ideas, but for say some of the other guys, maybe some of them may be drawing SSI, and then there may be a percentage that may, be on social programs, such as welfare and stuff like that. But I don't think there's not as many, because most men that are single like that, they don't have their kids with them. So it's like it's not easy for a single guy without kids to be able to get, social programs. It's not that easy. You have to be, in order to get welfare and social programs, they want you to basically be penniless, where you are totally a slave to the system before they'll give you benefits. I don't know if you can even have as much as $10,000 in the bank. If you have as much as that in the bank, they'll put you off the system, because then they're going to figure out when it's tax time and stuff like that, and you show up in the system, they're going to be like, well, wait a minute, if you have $10,000 in a bank account, where you get the money from? So most of these guys, I have to figure, are not, on subsistence or welfare. So where are these men? And where are they getting their money from, and how are they surviving? I would probably take a guess that some probably are invested into cryptocurrency and other investments. And, I gave some of the other career fields where I believe that men retire early, and I believe that probably a good portion of them are probably in the gig economy. So if you piece it all together, and say if you have individuals that have some type of finance savvy, for a single guy, it doesn't really take that much. Generally speaking, men, are simple. But what happens if you have a guy that's retired, okay? They got their retirement, and say they're working in the gig economy. And, the gig economy ranges from everything from Fiverr, to DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, Uber Rideshare. I mean, it just goes, and there's other types of gigs, to even being a consultant. So what happens if these guys are maybe they're on a private contract? You see what I'm saying? So if they're in the gig economy and say they have maybe a retirement or maybe some Social Security or maybe some Social Security disability, then they work in the gig economy. And then plus they may have, other investments. Maybe they've done well off of cryptocurrency. Some of these guys, they invested in cryptocurrency and they made out pretty well. So I believe that these men probably are in spaces like the gig economy, and probably they're probably in cryptocurrency. They're somewhere, I believe in those particular spheres, and they just pretty much just staying, out of sight, you know what I'm saying, out of mind, you know what I'm saying, for now. And some have even decided to relocate, you know what I'm saying, to other foreign countries. And more of them are starting to do that, you know. But you have to consider it. What if they have multiple streams of income coming in, you know, and they're able to take that money and maybe go to another country where the cost of living is cheaper, and some are making more than enough money with multiple streams of incomes that they can afford to go to another westernized society. They can even afford to go to places like Canada, you know, Australia. I mean, and they can cut it, you know, in the United States without having to be in the labor force, because if they couldn't, then you would see them showing up at these jobs. But obviously, there's something that they're doing to provide income for themselves where they are able to live without working in the main labor force. But I believe that these men, if they probably took a look in the gig economy and probably cryptocurrency, if they ran the numbers, you probably find that there's a lot more men that own crypto than women, and there's probably there's quite a few guys that's in the gig economy. And so if they're running multiple side hustles at one time, then you throw in, say, maybe some VA compensation, you know, and a pension, or say a pension, multiple side hustles, some cryptocurrency, then some other investments, you know, dividends. I mean, you name it. You know what I'm saying? Some of these guys are knowledgeable and know what they're doing. And then they also, they had saved money and they know how to stack money in the bank as well as invest it, you know? Some, you know, may be owners of, you know, of real estate. I mean, they could be into a host of different things. But in order for you to find these men, and that's a lot of men, you know, I think they believe in between anywhere from 10 to 30 million, you know, between that age group, 25 to 55 missing, you know. And then some would say, well, if they're in their 20s to 30s, okay, more than likely they're not going to be retired. And how are they going to accumulate that type of wealth? Well, let's make an assumption for the guys in their 20s to their 30s, okay? We're assuming that they're not retired, but just because they're young does not mean that they may not have hit a lick in crypto, and that they may be multiple business owners and plus working a side hustle. They obviously know enough to be able to work their finances and also to keep income coming in. And if you have multiple streams coming in, if you add them all together, every little bit counts. That makes that would be a healthy full-time salary, or even a lot of times could be 2 to 3 times more a full-time salary, depending on what type of side hustle they have, and also depending on what type of businesses they have and how they're doing in it. You see what I'm saying? And combine that with, say, maybe crypto or other investments, you have a person that's making a healthy salary, you know, and they provide their own medical and dental, and as a result, they're able to stay out of the main labor force radar. And so you can't find them, you know, because maybe you're not, maybe the employers, or maybe I guess government's not looking for them in the right places. So that's just my thought, you know what I'm saying? You know, some of these guys could possibly be maybe YouTubers. They could be YouTubers, you know what I'm saying? Then maybe, I don't know, say maybe do Uber, you know, invest in crypto. I mean, it's a whole combination. And then maybe running a business. It's a host. But I believe that's where these guys are at. These guys are, I would probably say look for these guys probably in the crypto market, and look for them in the gig economy. I think that might probably answer a lot of questions as to where these men are. And in order for you to draw these men out, or it's like basically putting fish food, or you got to put the right bait and make it worthwhile in order to draw these guys out from whatever space they're in. You got to make it worthwhile. And either, I guess, maybe the government with the Department of Labor, they're going to have to figure something out and raise the minimum wage, or they're going to have to do something. But you're going to have to pay these guys more for their time to make it worthwhile. And you're going to have to give them incentives or benefits, else these guys are not going to show up. And if that many men could make it without being in a labor force this long, how much longer you think they can go? So these guys are doing something, because I know some of the guys that are not in the labor force and how they're able to make it. And newsflash, some of these guys are earning over $100,000 without being in the labor force. They just earn it a different way. So anyway, that's all I have on that one. But this is some food for thought. You want to know where these millions of guys at? Check the crypto market, cryptocurrency, and take a look at the gig economy. You'd be surprised what you find. And then maybe take a look at some of your passport bros, your expatriates. Some of these guys are flown off. They don't jump ship and flown off the radar. So, that's probably where these men are at. Or they probably just doing their gig economy, or maybe living off their investments. And like I said, working their crypto and stuff like that. And up in the States, posted up, just chilling, just riding it out. But that's all I have on this one. But the name of this podcast is Snacks Thoughts. That's SNAKZTHOUGHTS, Snacks Thoughts. And you can find this podcast on Spotify, Acast, iTunes, iHeartRadios, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Radio PBM, and a host of other social media outlets. And I also have a YouTube channel, Eric Broadus YouTube. That's EricBroadus YouTube, or Eric Broadus YouTube. So go over to my YouTube channel, smash the bell to become a subscriber, hit the like button and like the video and leave a comment. Hit the unlike button if you don't like the video and leave a comment. Either way, love to dialogue with you. Everyone is entitled to their opinion and their perspective and has a right to be heard. And also, join Snacks Thoughts. Join me, guys, and push them both out. Share them. Snacks Thoughts, Eric Broadus YouTube. Share them with family, friends, frenemies, enemies, rats, bats, dogs, and cats. Share them and just push them out, guys. But again, something to think about. Missing men from the labor force. Where are they? Check the gig economy and cryptocurrency. That's all I have on this one. Catch you on the next one. Peace.